Most scientists say that we should be lowering CO2 emissions in order to mitigate, in other words, to lessen the impact of climate change. Politicians used to be skeptical, but now many of them agree. But those same steps that we would be using to mitigate climate change make so much sense that we should be using them right now, even if there was no such thing as climate change. Number one, we should greatly reduce our use of fossil fuels. That would reduce air pollution, improve our health, and many other benefits that I'll point out along the way. Have you ever wondered what comes out of the tailpipe of a car? Well, it's plenty of carbon dioxide and many other harmful substances such as nitrogen oxides, volatile organic compounds, carbon monoxide, and particulate matter. Number two, we must escape our dependence on a dwindling resource. Fossil fuels are limited. Most of the planet has already been explored and tapped. The supply will decline more quickly if countries modernize more quickly than expected, more slowly if new supplies are found, let's say under the thawing Arctic. But for sure the costs are going to increase and they'll skyrocket as the supply diminishes. We must be ready to transition to new energy sources long before we run out of oil. This map divides the world into regions and shows where major oil deposits have been found. What it doesn't show is that there may be more oil in the Arctic to be tapped once the polar ice cap has melted. Number three, we should increase our energy security. In past times, adversaries have been able to turn off the energy tap. That's an assault on your energy security if you can't get gasoline for your car or oil for your furnace. That's an assault on national security because the military that defends your country depends on gasoline for fuel and oil for lubrication. In 1973, OPEC, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, decreased their production of oil and tripled the price, which essentially shut down the energy taps in Canada, the US, and other countries. We adapted by developing domestic sources of oil, but that also depleted the domestic sources that would be used in an emergency. Since that time, there have been a number of armed conflicts in the Middle East over access to the oil that is plentiful there. The photo shows a tank in the foreground and a burning oil field in the background. Energy security issues are still with us today. You're looking at a map of pipelines in Russia, Ukraine, and Europe. If you've been paying any attention to the news, you know that Russia tried to weaponize gas and oil against Europe by threatening to cut off their energy supply. Luckily, it was an unusually mild winter, and they were able to get gas and oil from other sources, which solved their immediate energy problem. What does the future hold? China is a growing threat and is aggressively pursuing oil to feed their huge industrial base. They've grown their navy to a size that rivals the U.S. Navy, which makes the world fear that the next oil conflict will involve two giant military powers and not just sandy little countries. Something else related to the future is that the Arctic sea ice is shrinking and thinning due to global warming. It could be gone in the 2030s. We've always had an inhospitable expanse of polar ice cap separating North America from Russia and preventing conflict over the oil deposits there that were basically unattainable because of the ice. Now that the ice is melting out, Russia is planning to aggressively claim much of the oil there. It would be good to have diverse energy sources. Then the world wouldn't be at loggerheads competing for a single dwindling energy source, oil. If there were locally abundant and sustainable energy sources, that would certainly lower world tensions. Number four, we should focus on developing alternative energy sources. The common thread of these will be electricity, although some of them also produce heat. We have many potential ways to generate the electricity we need. The alternative sources are already becoming cost competitive with fossil fuels, and they will be cheaper in the future with technical advances and economic scale as they become more common. We need better storage systems, so inventors get busy inventing new batteries and other means of storing electricity. Here are the alternative energy sources I'm talking about: solar, wind, wave, tidal, hydro, microhydro, and geothermal. This will be a step forward to the energy future, not a step backwards. For example, the coolest cars and the fastest trains are electric, and that's just a sample of what will be possible as we move away from burning dinosaurs and ancient plant matter, i.e. fossil fuels. Number five, there would be new economic opportunities. There'll be an explosion of opportunities around these new energy alternatives. Some old jobs will be lost, but new ones will be gained. Consider the jobs that are associated with having oil as the primary energy source. You'd have some explorers, some drillers, some refiners, and some transporters, but many of these processes can be done at scale, requiring few jobs. Now consider the number and variety of jobs that would be created by developing the alternative energy sources. And you wouldn't use just one of these energy sources because the sun doesn't always shine and the wind doesn't always blow. You'd use diverse sources feeding into a network and storage system. Number 6, we need to focus on insulation and architecture. Heating and cooling are major energy costs, but insulation solves that cheaply and permanently. Buildings can be designed in the first place or renovated as an afterthought to make better use of energy. Here's an example of a new house that's using hay bales for insulation, and here's a closer look at that. You don't have to use hay bales, any form of efficient insulation will do. And here's a house that's been designed to use free solar energy from the sun. Number 7, we need to focus on efficiency. Inefficient processes waste energy, which is expensive, and it means that you need to buy that energy over and over again. Instead of drilling for new energy, we can use efficiency to reclaim energy that we would have otherwise just wasted. The other thing is that we need to develop efficient habits. No matter how good our devices are, we're not going to save energy if we leave our devices running all the time. Light bulbs come in a variety of efficiencies. The 60-watt incandescent bulb on the left gives the same amount of light as the 9-watt LED bulb on the right. LED bulbs cost more, but they last longer, so the price of the bulbs becomes neutral. What counts is the energy and money that you can save by using LED bulbs. An on-demand water heater doesn't waste energy by keeping a large supply of water hot just in case you want some. It heats water on demand as you use it. Whatever appliances you buy, the efficient ones may cost more, but they pay you back quickly because they save energy, and energy is expensive. The bottom line is choose and use your devices efficiently. Number 8, forests are valuable for storing carbon, but they also restore habitat and protect biodiversity, help to purify and control water, reduce soil erosion, provide jobs and products, and supply oxygen and recreation. We need to restore deforested lands where appropriate and work hard to avoid forest fires. Number 9, we should focus on protecting biodiversity, not just in forests, but in wetlands, plains, mountains, aquatic, and marine habitats. Biodiversity provides us with food, products, recreation, jobs, genes, ecological services, and healthy ecosystems. Wetlands are full of biodiversity, plus they store carbon and help to control floods. The huge Amazon rainforest and other biological hotspots protect biodiversity and store huge quantities of carbon. Number 10, we need to make farming sustainable. Current industrial farming is increasingly expensive and carbon intensive. It depletes the soil. It involves potentially harmful chemicals. Rethinking farming would benefit the climate change issue, but would also make our food supply healthier and more reliable. Using no-till farming, leaving stubble on the field, is one kind of improvement. It decreases wind and water erosion of the soil. It improves soil health. It keeps water and carbon in the soil. It uses less fuel and therefore puts less CO2 in the air from the machinery. And it reduces chemical use. To learn more about chemicals currently used in farming, see my YouTube called Pests Are Coming For Us. In summary, the 10 items I mentioned would help to mitigate climate change problems, but we should be doubly determined to do them because they would have so many other immediate benefits for us. What can we do? We can communicate with others. We can lead when we get the chance. We can vote when we find a politician who's got the right ideas. We can vote with our wallets and buy appropriate things. We can stay informed and engaged. Our world is changing, but let's push it in the right direction. So those are the 10 steps we should take right now because they give us many advantages in addition to helping us with our climate change issue. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and come back to see more videos like this. If you're interested in environmental science, I have a highly rated course at Udemy called Everyone's World: What You Need to Know About Your Environment. The link is in the description below. See you next video.